So without further ado, I think we can start our session. Good afternoon, everyone. So I think you all had your lunch, but don't fall asleep. So today is my third session on Zoom training, not Zoom training, Zoom meeting on this briefing on Malaysia e-invoice. Now is a very hot topic. So if you have further question to ask, you can unmute your mic later to ask question, or you are a bit shy, you can type in the chat box so that I can answer to your inquiry. So let's start with the first slide. Okay. What is e-invoice? Now everybody is a hot topic in the market. Everyone is talking about electronic invoice. E-invoice is actually a digital representation. That means previously you will send invoice to your supplier or send invoice to your customer. Your supplier will send you invoice via email, PDF, Excel, Word, or even picture file. All those are not e-invoice. That means those are only just other format, but not e-invoice. So e-invoice is actually consists of information about supplier details, buyer details, item, and tax. This invoice format, so-called e-invoice, is actually requested by IRB Malaysia, Income Tax Malaysia, just to process automatically by their AI using their server to validate the invoice. Okay, so this is called e-invoice. So previously you can see on the right hand side, which is PDF format, Word format, Excel format, or even handwritten format, JPEG format, or email are not e-invoice. Okay, those are just simply a format to send out. But on your left hand side, there is the e-invoice we are talking about today, which is XML format or JSON. So XML is what? Not your shirt size X, size M, size L. This is just a programming language. We call the document, the programming. So you no need to know what is XML format, what is JSON format. It's just a format. And programmer, they will know what is that. Okay. So this current format of e-invoice will need by IRB to validate in their server. Okay. So this is the e-invoice format we are talking about. So e-invoice consists of what document actually? There are 4 documents. For sales, sales there are 4 documents. We have invoice, credit note, debit note, and refund. So got 4 type of document. So what is the benefit? Why we need to go for e-invoice? The main purpose is requested by IRB or Income Tax Department. So for the user, as we are the user, we need to compliance. We need to patuh kepada peraturan. So we need to compliance to e-invoice. We need to have accessibility. So e-invoice able us to access the validity after the IRB validate the invoice, we can access the e-invoice via the My Invoice portal. Okay, we can trace back the invoice. Audit trail, we can have the audit trail and cost saving. Why it say cost saving? But this one I a bit doubtful about cost saving because you need to upgrade your software. You need to buy the e-invoice module. For those who do not have software, maybe they can use the manual way. They can upload the transaction to my invoice portal. But how friendly is the upload? We don't know yet because IRB haven't come out the system and let us see how friendly. Okay. So in terms of IRB, there are more benefit. You see, we only have 4, but IRB got more benefits. Actually, the purpose of e-invoice is to let IRB Malaysia to have efficiency for checking and audit. They want to audit our accounts. I mean, audit our income and expense. They want things to be transparent. Oh, dia nak tengok semua. Okay? Easier for audit. All required field is fill, save time, and better data analysis. Okay, someone mute the mic so that I won't disturb everyone, yeah? Okay, e-invoice is required for what? Actually, we require for proof of sales and proof of expense. Someone has unmute the mic. Siapa unmute mic? Tolong mute kan. Tolong mute mic, your mic, yeah. Sorry, so that you won't disturb. Okay, thanks. Okay, e-invoice is required for proof of sales and proof of expense. That means you need to provide e-invoice to in this field lah, sales and expense. Sales is proof of income. Expense is in term of return, discount, spending, reduction of income, and sale bill. So these are the few e-invoice requirement. Okay. Now we need to know that e-invoice is actually not one-shot implement, not like GST in year back 2014 or 15, which everyone start at the same day. But e-invoice, the implementation timeline is we have 3 stages. First phase is on 1st of August 2024. Hopefully it won't delay. So actually the 1st of August 2024 is coming soon now because now it's already May or mid-May already. So the annual turnover for the first phase is actually 100 million and more than 100 million. Those companies need to compliance on 1st of August 2024. The second phase will be 1st of January 2025, which is 25 million up to 100 million turnover. Okay. The last phase will be 1st July 2025. Then it's required for all taxpayers, regardless you are selling nasi lemak at the roadside, or you are chao kway teow auntie, or you are selling chicken at the pasar pagi. Everyone who are doing business or who are the taxpayers or doing business need to compliance. So how we determine whether we are in the first phase, second phase, or third phase? So will be based on your audited financial statement for year 2022. Okay? Look back for your financial statement year 2022. If your financial statement is between 25 million until 100 million, then you are second phase. If you are above 100 million, you are first phase. If you are less than 25 million, will be last phase, which is 1st July 2025. But if you are new business, okay, new business, then strictly away you are third phase. Okay, let's say you are new business in year 2024. You do not have 2022 audited financial statement, right? So you all are fall under third phase, which is 1st July 2025. So your job and your task is to make sure which phase are you. Okay, make sure you know which phase are you. Okay, who is affected? Actually, e-invoice involved of this few party lah. First is B2B, business to business. Okay, business to business. Business to consumer, B2C. B2G is business to government. And another one is others, mean all taxpayers undertaking commercial activities in Malaysia. In another words, all are affected. All are affected. Okay, business to business, business to consumer. That means you are consumer also, you are affected. Business to government. Some business, they are doing transaction with government. they are affected also, and others. Okay. So who is affected in this four type of environment? So as you can see on the screen, association, persatuan, okay, body of person, branch, business trust, cooperative societies, corporation, limited liability partnership, partnership, property trust fund, property trust, real estate investment trust, representative office and regional office, trust body, and unit trust. So all are affected. All are affected regardless you are association or non-profit organization or even religion body, all are affected. Partnership, property trust fund, real estate investment, trust body, unit trust, corporation, all are affected. Okay. So all are affected, but who are not affected? I mean, got some perkecualian. Okay. Perkecualian is who? Actually, we have some bodies or some person who are exempted, which are ruler and ruling chief and the raja, macam like raja perempuan, sultana, tengku ampuan, and permaisuri, government bodies, okay, government authorities, those are not affected. Individual who is not conducting business. That means you are not conduct any business, so won't be affected. These are the exempted person. That means this body or this person do not need to issue e-invoice. They do not need to issue e-invoice, but they can accept e-invoice. Okay, that means if you are company, you do business with this party, you need to issue e-invoice. Supplier who supply goods or services to exempted person still needs to reissue e-invoice. Example, if you are doing business with government, so you are company, you are business, you need to issue e-invoice to government. But government are exempted to issue e-invoice. Exempted means they are not going to issue e-invoice to you. But when you provide services or goods to government, you need to issue e-invoice to them. Got it? So these are different. Doesn't mean exempted person. We as a business unit, we do not need to issue. We need to issue, but they do not need to issue to us. It's a separate way. So there are some income or expense, they are exempted from the e-invoice. These are the exempted income and expenses. The first one will be your employment income, means salary. If you issue salary to your staff, you no need to issue e-invoice to them. Okay, you just issue normal salary will do. Pension, alimony, distribution of dividend in specific circumstances, and zakat. These 5 categories, no need to issue e-invoice in your business. Okay. So get to know this exempted income or expense. So you will know no need to issue any e-invoice. So e-invoice flow is actually the main e-invoice portal is under Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri, which is My Invoice Portal. Okay, on your left hand. This is the Lembaga Hasil portal or server, which they will need all our invoices. E-invoice will need to go through this portal in order to be validated. Okay, then how we are going to input all those invoice to My Invoice Portal? Either you can directly log into My Invoice Portal. That means you register in My Invoice Portal, then you manual key in the invoice. Okay. Another way is we have the API, so-called a bridge, a tools to link the software to My Invoice Portal. So either way also can. some customer ask whether we can not to use, not to upgrade the software or not to buy e-invoice module. Can we still do e-invoice? Yes, you can, but you a bit tedious lah. In our software, any software you can issue the normal invoice, but at the same time, you must go to my invoice portal to key in the invoice again, so that your invoice can be validated. So you will do 2 times. That means double job for you. Because each invoice issue during E-Invoice Era, you need to submit to my invoice portal for validity, to validate. Okay? So if you don't do that, your invoice is not an E-Invoice. It's just a normal invoice. Okay? To ease your job, so the software has already have the API. This is the bridge, some call the bridge, to link your software to my invoice portal. So this will help you to submit your invoice, your e-invoice to my invoice portal at the same time to get the invoice to be validated. This is the easier way. Means you create invoice in your software or AutoCount. At the same time, you submit the invoice to my invoice portal. You no need to key in again. So this is the easier way for you. But if you think your software, your invoice is not so many, 1 year only 20 invoices, so you can use the manual way. That means you go to my invoice portal, you key in your invoice. Okay. I don't know how the my invoice portal look like, because the Lembaga Hasil haven't launched the portal yet. Okay, they are still under testing stage. So no one in Malaysia has ever seen my invoice portal yet. Okay, so we don't know how it looks like. What field can we fill in the my invoice portal? So let's wait and see lah. But our API that link to my invoice portal is already done. Okay, it's done. It's ready. So now it's under testing only. Okay, this is the step, how the flow, the business flow, how the invoice is going to flow, and how to submit to my invoice portal. Okay, first of all, you will issue the e-invoice either using our software, AutoCount, or other software, or you manual log into my invoice portal to issue the e-invoice. The second step is your invoice, you will submit to my invoice portal, then the my invoice portal will validate your invoice. Validate your invoice will have the unique identify number. Okay, each invoice will have the unique identifier number and also the QR code. Okay, the invoice will have the QR code and the unique identifier number to state that that invoice already validated. Okay, then after the validation, both parties, seller and buyer, will get notification from IRB, my invoice portal. They will send you the email to acknowledge you, the invoice is validated. Okay, then you can share the actual invoice to your buyer, or your supplier can share the actual invoice to you with the embedded QR code. Okay, without the QR code, without the identifier number, unique identifier number, this is not e-invoice. That means this invoice has not been validated. Okay, after you have done, either you can, someone will ask now whether you can reject the invoice or not, or whether you can cancel the invoice or not. Yes, within 72 hours. That means when you submit the invoice via My Invoice portal, within the 72 hours, you can reject or you can cancel or you can edit the invoice and resend again. Then if after 72 hours, how? Then you need to adjust the invoice via CN or DN. CN means credit note, DN means debit note. That means you cannot cancel, you cannot reject, or you cannot edit the invoice after 72 hours, because after 72 hours, the invoice will be automatically become validated. Okay, you cannot change anything. The only way to change is to issue CN or DN. Okay, so the CN and DN in E-Invoice era is quite important. You cannot just issue a CN without any invoice as supporting document, or issue a DN without any invoice as supporting document. So these are the two important adjusted document you can use for invoice. Then someone will ask, 72 hours is how to count? It's counted on what? Encountered by what? You can use 72 hours. That means, is it holiday still consider fall under 72 hours, or is it weekend? Let's say Friday you submit the e-invoice to My Invoice portal, then the clock will start to tick once you have submitted. Then even if Saturday, Sunday, there is no government working hours, it's still consider fall under 72 hours. I mean, the server is still clock ticking. It won't consider whether it is a holiday or it is a public holiday or it is a after work hour, working hour. It doesn't matter. The clock is still ticking and count as 72 hours. It will automatically be validated. Okay, after you have get the validation, you can submit your invoice to your buyer, or your buyer or your customer can log into My Invoice portal to check whether this invoice is already been validated. Even they can check or via you send to them, or even they can log into the My Invoice portal. So these are the step by step how it happened. I mean, in the business flow lah. So inside the My Invoice, inside the e-invoice, there are many information required by IRB lah. As you can see on the screen, now they require 55 field, 55 important field inside the e-invoice. That means including the supplier name, buyer's name, TIN number, registration, SSD, email, MSIC code, classification, description, and so on. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Among the 55 field, there are only 30 something field, which is compulsory. And the field with light blue color, as you can see, this light blue color, these are optional. White color are compulsory. So this supply name, buyer's name, TIN number, registration, SST, email, MSIC code, classification, description, all those are compulsory field in e-invoice, inside a e-invoice. So let's see what e-invoice, what is under e-invoice. What type of invoices are under e-invoice, sorry. These are three types of e-invoice. First one is the standard e-invoice, which is the business to business. That means if I'm doing a business, you are doing a business, I will issue the standard e-invoice to you. For buyers that need e-invoice as a proof of expense, okay? Then the second type of e-invoice is consolidated. This one is B2C. B2C means business to consumer. Let's say I go 99 and buy a Milo. Because I'm the end user, I'm the consumer, I no need to claim any tax. So I buy for my family use. Then the 99 mini mart will consolidate the invoice, I mean the cash sales later. They can still open a normal receipt to me, and then at the end of the month, they will consolidate all those B2C transaction or B2C receipt and submit one shot as a consolidated e-invoice. Just this one just for B2C, not B2B. The third one is self-billing. Self-billing means for specific scenario. Example, if you get some goods and services from overseas supplier, okay, overseas supplier, especially Google's or other foreign company that do not provide you e-invoice. In their company regulation, in their country, they do not provide e-invoice. They still provide a normal invoice to you. You will take in as a purchase invoice, but you will convert it to self-billing, self-bill invoice. Because this is the requirement from IRB lah. They need you to self-bill yourself. Okay, so this is a specific scenario. Another scenario is let's say a personal landlord. Let's say I am a landlord, but I do not run a business, but I own some premises I own some premises and I do some renting. And you rent one of my premises as office. So every month you will pay me rental. Okay, your company will pay me rental. But due to I'm not doing any business, so I can't issue you any billing. Okay, so in that case, if that company want to take in the proof of expense, they need to self-bill themselves. They need to self-bill themselves. That means they need to ask me for my TIN number, for my name, in order to self-bill themselves in this scenario to get the proof of expense to be recognized. Okay, so this is the three types of e-invoice. One is standard B2B. Second is consolidate B2C. The third one is self-billing. Self-billing is usually for purchases, which is a proof of expense. This is under special scenario, whether it's overseas company or from government body, which they do not provide e-invoice, or a non-business entity. That means they are a personal, so I mean renting premises to you. So you need to self-bill yourself in order to get the proof of expense. Okay, let us go through one by one. Standard e-invoice. What is standard e-invoice? Every business will issue invoice to each other, right? So from the e-invoice era, you need to submit e-invoice to IRB. Okay, whenever you do a transaction, business transaction with any buyers or seller. Okay, so when you create the invoice, you need to submit to IRB, My Invoice Portal, to get validated. In order to submit to IRB, you need to validate the invoice before you can send to your customers. Okay, there are some mandatory fields that you need to provide for validating this e-invoice. As I mentioned, there are 55 fields, but 30 plus something are compulsory. Once you validated, a QR code and a unique identifier number will be in the e-invoice to show you it's already been validated. Okay, this is to avoid receiving faulty or illegal invoice. Okay, any cancellation, editing, or rejection of invoice should be done within 72 hours before the e-invoice is validated. Okay, after the 72 hours, the only cancellation request or any editing request can be adjusted using the CN or DN. Okay, then you need to issue debit note or credit note if you want to adjust after 72 hours. Now, on the screen is one of the sample of e-invoice standard. Okay, as you can see, there are many information you need to fulfill, especially supplier TIN, registration number, SST, MSIC code, blah, 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 and so on. On your right-hand side, also got unique identify number, original invoice number, and so on. And at the bottom, you can see there are digital signature, and also on your right-hand side bottom, you can see the QR code. Okay. Inside the content itself is same like what we have, but just there are additional columns such as classification. This one is not in current invoice. This classification is actually what? Later I will go into it. So this is a sample of standard e-invoice. As you can see, it is different from what we have. Those 30 plus field which is required must be fulfilled. If you do not have the info, you can put NA. NA means not available. But all field must fill up, cannot leave blank. Cannot leave blank. Even though you cannot get the address, you have to put NA, not available. But you cannot leave it blank. Email is a must. Email is a must. So in e-invoice era, make sure your email is valid. Don't give the wrong email. If you give the wrong email, later you cannot receive any notification or important messages. For company, I suggested you create a you created an email address, who can access by several people, several colleagues, so that when you on MC or what, so other people can look at the notification at the time being. Because if everyone is putting personal email or putting the boss's email, then it will be very difficult if every notification sent to the email itself, which the boss will not always check email, or the colleague may get on leave or MC. Sometimes it will miss out the notification. Better to get a general email which can access by everyone. Okay, this is my suggestion. Okay. Someone will ask if during the e-invoice era, can we still issue invoice monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, or weekly, like what we are doing now for certain customer? Yes, you can. The behavior of issuing issuing invoices are not going to change. You can still practice your way, but all the invoices need to be submitted as e-invoice. This is the only requirement. So some businesses usually do monthly billing, bi-monthly, quarterly, such as healthcare, insurance, stockbroking, telecommunication, digital marketing company, banking. Those industry can still practice their normal way or their usual way to issue the invoice. Okay, they can base on the billing frequency as usual. No need to change any frequency, still can able to do it, but they need to issue as e-invoice. So this is a sample of a telco e-invoice, which they can issue bi-monthly or monthly. Same lah, just they have SST, they need to display SST also. SST is required by custom. E-invoice is required by IRB. So they are both different parties. Don't misunderstanding. And digital signature and also QR code after validation. So we come to consolidated e-invoice. Okay, consolidated e-invoice usually in B2C business. I think some of our customer also doing both lah, B2B and B2C. B2B is like normal lah, business to business, company to company. B2C is like business to consumer. Example, I just now I quote example of I go 99 buy Milo. If my Milo is used for family, it's B2C. If my Milo is used for company purpose, I buy the Milo because I want to use in my company, my colleague want to drink, or I serve my customer. So they are considered B2B. So I must ask 99 to issue me E-Invoice if I want to claim company. Okay? But if I use for family, I just get a normal receipt will do. Okay, as 99, if customer asks you to issue E-Invoice, they must issue E-Invoice because they need to, the customer need to claim the proof of expense. But if normal customer, they do not ask anything, you still open normal receipt as usual, then customer can take the receipt and go. Okay, from in E-Invoice era, I can foresee the big hypermarket like Jasco, Tesco, Eon, something like that, or either big chain store. Maybe they are setting up the special customer service counter for special to issue e-invoice. Because when you go to purchase something, you may be used for family or own self-consume, or also you may be buying for company. If you buy for company, you need to get the e-invoice. So normal cashier cannot just ask you a lot of things and key in at the cashier counter because the queue it will be very long. So they cannot ask you one by one, what's your name, what's your PIN number, what's your address, what's your email, and blah, blah, blah. So they will ask you to go to customer service counter or whatever counter they have and ask the customer service counter to issue you an e-invoice. So at the customer service counter, they can ask you more information in order to issue you e-invoice. Okay? So you can foresee this is our future, maybe change a bit the buying behavior already. So before you buy things, you need to know whether it's for yourself to claim tax for company or you buy for own consume. No need to claim anything. So next time when you go out to buy things, make sure you got all the information ready, lor. PIN number. If buy for company, usually they ask PIN number, company name, address, and so on. So get those information ready, lah. Okay. So for 99, if they issue e-invoice, they just issue, lah. If no need e-invoice like consumer like us, 99 at the end of the month, will get the consolidated. That means all the cashier receipt, which is not e-invoice, they will consolidate at the month end and submit one shot as consolidated e-invoice to IRB. They need to submit, but not on time. Then can submit month end. Month end to IRB. Okay? So all the receipt must have description field lah. So the date time, the deadline for submission must be 7 days of the following month, within 7 days. That means in the May, submission must fall before 7th of June. For June submission must be before 7th of July. So they give you 1 week later to submit. They give you a time frame, 1 month plus 7 days. Either you can submit weekly or you can submit monthly. Up to you. There's no certain rules. So someone will ask whether they got any Excel format for submission. Maybe they come up with Excel format according to IRB, but not sure when. But using software will do all the magic for consolidated e-invoice. You no need to worry. Okay. Later I'll show you how it looks like. This is a sample for consolidated e-invoice. So you will have description. Okay, as you can see on the red box. Okay. So this one is 1 month. 1 month, they consolidate every cash sales or invoices, which is not e-invoice, to submit one shot as a consolidated e-invoice at the month end. So you can see there are receipt number, range from what number to what number. But you can see 1113 is missing. You see 1110 up to 1112. Where is 1113? Missing. Then you can see 1116 up to 2450. Where is 1115? Missing. The missing one, 1113 and 1115 is actually standard e-invoice. They already give to customer on the spot, standard e-invoice. Okay. Then the rest only submit monthly via consolidated. So these are non-standard e-invoice. This is consolidated. So one shot submit. So the 1113 and 1115 are missing because they are standard e-invoice. So they will skip the numbering and continue later and then skip another number because of e-invoice standard, then they continue. This is the reason why 1113 and 1115 is missing. Okay. And also they can submit as a range or submit one by one. This is submit one by one sample. Okay. But they're all lumped to in one document, lumped to in one transaction to submit. Okay. Requesting e-invoice. Is it important? Very important. If you are a staff, if you are a salesperson representing your company, you will always have to request e-invoice, because without e-invoice, maybe later stage, your company cannot take in the transaction as proof of expense. So you must always request e-invoice if you do the transaction because of the company. Okay, like salesperson, they must go for entertainment. They need to request e-invoice if they go to restaurant and eat with customer. So they need the restaurant to issue them the e-invoice. Okay, if not, they are not allowed to claim. Example, if I am a salesman, I go to a restaurant with my customer and I decided to treat my customer. But after my meal, I get the receipt from the restaurant. I forgot to ask for e-invoice. Later, I bring back the receipt to my company and my HR department say, oh, sorry, you cannot claim because this is not a e-invoice. So what can I do? I will go back to the same restaurant and ask them, I want to have an e-invoice. Can they change for me? Yes, they can. Okay, but you must go back at the same month. Let's say June transaction, go back at the same month. You don't go back in July. If you go back in July, they already submit the consolidated e-invoice. So they cannot change for you. Okay, if you go back in the month of June, the normal e-invoice can convert to e-invoice. The normal receipt can convert to e-invoice that can give you e-invoice on the spot. But if you go back 1 month later or 2 months later, then sorry lah. The restaurant may reject your request. So please remind your salesperson or your company's colleague to get the e-invoice in the same month. Okay. You as a consumer, you need to provide TIN number, or if you are not a Malaysian, you can provide your passport number. If a non-Malaysian, they are paying tax, they can provide TIN number as well. So for salesperson, can they their claims are let's say example Maxis claim, their mobile claim, their car repair claims from the workshop. Can the car repair workshop write the staff name as the invoice title? The pay to the name, not writing company, but write to the issue to the employee's name. Yes, they can, but you must need to get your company policy updated. That means your HR policy or your company policy must update such clause in the Employment Act, right? All the staff, especially the sales staff, are entitled for car repair, are entitled for mobile claim, are entitled for such benefit, then they can request e-invoice based on employee name. If you do not have this supporting policy or document, then all e-invoice must issue company name. Okay. If you want to have flexibility of issue company name or staff name, please amend your company HR policy or your company policy or your employment letter or whatever to include the benefit of such expense. Then if IRB asks for supporting, you can show them. It's actually okay to issue employee name, but you must have supporting contract, policy, or appointment letter to state that they're having this benefit. Okay. So this is on the spot request. Means you go and buy things on the spot. You go to the cashier and pay. Due to you are consumer, you no need to claim any expense. Then you can take the normal invoice or cash sales or receipt. But if you are buying for the company, then you require e-invoice. Okay. Then you must ask the cashier to provide you the e-invoice. If you want to have the e-invoice later, that means after you take back the normal receipt, finally you want to get the e-invoice instead, then you can go back to the company itself and ask for exchange. If not, then some big chain store or some hyper are going to develop some apps. They will ask you to download their apps, and then you can download the e-invoice from the apps. This will be easier rather than you need to go back to the premises or go back to the chain store or go back to the hypermarket in order to get the e-invoice. From the apps, from the mobile apps, you can directly download the e-invoice. So this will also be a coming soon future trend. All e-invoice can be getting the e-invoice from the apps or also online. Okay, rather than you need to drive there and exchange. So this will be another trend. So this is post-transaction request lor. Like what I said, late after you go back to the office, finally you want the e-invoice. So maybe some big corporation or big chain store, they will quite like to develop the apps in order for you to get the mobile apps or web portal to download the e-invoice. So less than 2 seconds, you will get the replacement e-invoice on the spot. Okay. Not all industry are allowed to consolidate. As I mentioned, consolidated e-invoice is business to consumer, correct? But not all company or not all industry can do that. There are 7 industry that cannot do consolidated e-invoice. That means they cannot combine the normal sales invoice or normal receipt, normal cash sale and submit at the month end. They must do e-invoice one by one. Okay, they must create e-invoice standard e-invoice. They cannot consolidate their e-invoice at the month end. These are the 7 industry. The first one will be automotive, selling cars. If you buy car, they cannot consolidate invoice. They must give you e-invoice. Aviation, which is air tickets. Next time you buy air tickets, they will ask your PIN number, ask your name, ask your IC, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Luxury goods and jewelry. This one should be confirmed later because due to 1st of May, the luxury good tax has been delayed. So this one will be confirmed by government later. Okay. But they will put on hold for this luxury goods and jewelry. If it's really happened for luxury goods and jewelry, that means next time you go to Habit Jewel, buy gold chain, buy gold, they will ask for they will give you e-invoice. They will ask your name, ask your TIN number, and so on. Okay. Construction company are not allowed to issue consolidated e-invoice. Construction company undertaking construction contract as defined in Income Tax Regulation 2007 are not allowed to issue consolidated e-invoice. They must issue standard e-invoice. Okay. Wholesaler and retailer for construction materials. Let's say the hardware shop, okay, the hardware retail shop, they are selling construction material, are not allowed to issue consolidated e-invoice. Okay, in a retail business like hardware shop, like Mr. DIY type of shop, I put example only. Mr. DIY didn't sell any construction material. Example, you are selling cement, you are selling the sand, the bricks, those things for construction purpose. You are not allowed to issue consolidated e-invoice. For selling those material, you need to issue e-invoice. But other than construction material, you can issue consolidated e-invoice. Okay? Get it? License betting and gaming. This one is genting lah, casino and gaming machine. Then paying to agents, dealer, and distributor. Let's say you are paying to your agents, to your dealers and distributor for commission. You cannot issue consolidated e-invoice. You need to issue standard e-invoice because IRB need to know who are they, what is their TIN number, and what extra income they get. This one is request by IRB. Okay, sell bill invoice. Sell bill invoice is the supplier party is not necessary to issue e-invoice to you because they cannot. Like overseas company, like you buy from China, Taobao, okay, Taobao, or you buy from Google, you buy from other overseas company, they cannot issue you e-invoice because in their country, they do not practice e-invoice. So what you can do is you get the normal invoice from them, but you sell bill on behalf for the supplier. So you need to do sell bill invoice in your software. When the buyer issues sell bill e-invoice and submit to IRB for validation, this validated e-invoice will be used as proof of expense for tax purpose. Without sell bill e-invoice, maybe in later stage in after July 2025, you are not able to use it as proof of expense for tax purpose. Okay, so you must take in as sell bill. Especially those are foreign company, or you get something from a personal, like goods and services, anything. Okay. Sell bill e-invoice. Okay. These are sell billing e-invoice, payment to agent, dealers, and distributor, foreign supplier, profit distribution, dividend. Okay, this one is happen between Sendirian Berhad. Some Sendirian Berhad, they have shareholders. Shareholders may be come and go like that. So IRB need to know who are the shareholder currently. Okay, so dividend distribution within the shareholder, you need to sell bill. They need to take in the TIN number, the name, the IC, and so on. E-commerce, they are doing sell bill e-invoice lah. So currently, Shopee and Lazada, they will issue e-invoice to the buyers. So to their merchant, they will do sell bill e-invoice. Okay. Payout to all betting and gaming winners. This one, government also need to know lah. Acquisition of goods and service from individual taxpayer who are not conducting a business. Like I say, if you get service from a non-business personnel, so you need to sell bill. Payment or credit to taxpayer recorded in a statement, bill issued to a period basis. Rebate, rebate need to issue. Interest payment, Like bank paying you interest, bank also will sell bill invoice themselves. So this interest belong to you, ma. You are not doing business with bank, ma. So bank will do sell bill invoice themselves. Okay. Okay. Just now I mentioned about data classification. When we look at the sample of e-invoice, there is a data classification there. Data classification is a category of product and services to bill as a commercial transaction. Usually it will be 3 digit. So I go back to the previous slide to show you what is the you see the classification 022. This one is the classification. 0004, this one is the classification. This is what I meant by classification. So classification also determined by IRB is 3 digit integer, consists of 001 until 040. But I don't know this number is going to increase or not. Maybe will increase. So these are the list lah. Full list, sample list. The full list can get to you can download the full list in IRB portal, IRB website. So to quick example, 001 is actually breastfeeding equipment. Sorry. 001 is breastfeeding equipment. 002 is childcare. 003 is computer. If you selling computer, so your code classification code is 003. 004 is consolidated e-invoice. 005 is construction material. But construction material also they got a list lah. They got a list. What item is considered a construction material? So you get the full list also can download from the IRB website. 006 is disbursement. 007 donation. Okay. Reimbursement also got code and so are donation. So there are actually 40 items currently coding. But they are going to expand more lah because more and more industry are involved in the guideline. So you can get the updates from IRB portal. Okay. So these are the code must indicate in e-invoice. Example, 003 is smartphone. If you are selling smartphone or iPhone or Samsung or whatever smartphone, the classification is 003. So what the content actually is based on the IRB guide. And IRB guide actually all uploaded in their website. So you can go and have a look just to go into hasil.gov.my, and inside the guide themselves, a lot of industry already got lah, especially e-commerce, trading, construction, and some other industry. Okay, like import and export also they are having all the guides there. So in order to get more info, you can get the guideline. For import and export, import, they need to have the K1 form to input the K1 form number also inside your e-invoice, sell bill invoice. So make sure you get the guideline and read it through. Okay. And submission structure, they got two ways, as I mentioned, using My Invoice Portal or API. If you want to GMAT do it, if you want to save yourself, you don't have many invoice, you can directly log into My Invoice Portal and input. Okay. Or you use your software just to record the normal transaction and do another one mission at My Invoice Portal. But if you have many invoices, I actually advise you to use API, which is the e-invoice module we are selling now. So My Invoice Portal is a manual submission. Means you create a you create a normal invoice in your order count. You need to manually go to My Invoice Portal, key in again to submit in order to be validated. If not, you issue in order count, that invoice is not going to recognize during E-Invoice Era. API is automating submission through software. So we are helping you to do one job at the two jobs at the same time. If you're using My Invoice Portal manual, you do 2 times. But using API, you do 1 time and you can submit on the same time. Okay, because API, we directly link with IRB. Okay, we directly link with IRB, and we also link to PEPO. PEPO is another international network. PEPO is a international network which your software can talk to your link your software can link to IRB, and IRB My Invoice Portal can reflect back the result and put back in your customer software. So it's an internet integration automatically lah. So PEPO is actually not a new thing. PEPO is a overseas network lah. We call it international network. But this one, they need to charge by per transaction, if I'm not mistaken lah. AutoCount also got PEPO, but AutoCount PEPO is because of Singapore government. They are using PEPO now in Singapore. So AutoCount has experience of doing PEPO already. So if you have PEPO requests, let me know, and AutoCount is going to develop it in Malaysia as well. So because this PEPO is actually exchanging the network between software A and software B. Example, you are using software A, your customer is using software B. Via the PEPO, your transaction from software A can directly, via the IRB validation, then go back to software B. Software B no need to key in anymore. That means all is automated already directly. Yeah. So PEPO is actually distribution, slimmers, and response in a very short time. So this is how PEPO works. Actually, PEPO is working like API, but PEPO can use to update the seller or buyer software at the same time. Okay, now I want to explain like that. You issue the invoice in AutoCount, then you submit to IRB via AutoCount, right? API. Then you submit already. IRB there will validate the e-invoice. Then IRB will inform your customer. Your customer will have to key in the transaction again in their purchase invoice, correct? But in PEPO, when they inform the customer no need to key in back in their software. The PEPO will help them to update their software automatically. That means you issue invoice, if validated, PEPO will upload it to their software. Okay, so there's no need to key in anymore. It's automated. But this one is count by transaction, if I'm not mistaken. It's count by transaction. See how one transaction, I don't know what is the cost. I think each service provider also come with different costing. Okay, talk a lot about e-invoice. Now we're going to see AutoCount design. How AutoCount help you in e-invoice? Okay, we have AutoCount products like cloud accounting, AutoCount version 2 like you are using now. We also have post system. So actually, AutoCount have the API, which is something like a bridge linking your software to the LHDN e-invoice server. But in the API itself, we don't direct link. We'll go through our big server called AIP. API and AIP are different things. API is your e-invoice module that you buy. AIP is our AutoCount big server. We call it AutoCount e-invoice platform. This is a big server. Our big server will accommodate, and all your invoice submitted will go through our big server. Okay, our big server will queue up all your transactions, the whole Malaysia transaction. Eventually, we will help you to submit via our big server to Lembaga Hasil Portal. Okay, so PEPO is in the middle. Okay, Why we need those big server? Because our big server will serve as a very good tools. Later I will show you why. So in general, in our auto count, we already create the e-invoice module, but it's going to be ready before 1st of August. Now it's under testing stage. So your new version, we will have this function in the option where we can enable the e-invoice module. If you buy if you buy the module, the e-invoice module is by company basis. That means one module linked to one company. If your auto account have more than 3, 4, 5 company, then you need to consider whether your company, your 3 or 4 or 5 company need to use e-invoice or not. If yes, you need to buy the module because e-invoice module cannot share within the company. Each company have to buy the e-invoice module separately. Okay. So to enable the e-invoice module, then to allow consolidated, if you need to submit consolidated later. Okay. So inside the auto account system, we have tin function. We got standard e-invoice, consolidated e-invoice, self-bill invoice, post invoice, and others. So inside auto account, we already help you to taking care everything. No need to worry. Tin function. What is tin function? Actually, you know in E-Invoice Era, every invoice need to issue the tin number. So the tin number is your customer number or your supplier number. So here, we allow you to self-key in. If you get the tin number from your supplier, you can self-key into the system, like what we show on the screen. You can maintain the tin number one by one. But if you do not maintain the tin number one by one, our debtor maintenance here, okay, our debtor maintenance or creditor maintenance will have the new function for tin number. So what you do is you press the get tin button. When you press the get tin button, the software will, our software will go and search for you the tin number. How they search actually? Okay, they will search where? They will search inside our big server. Just now I mentioned about AIP server. They will go to the server and search. Why they search there? Because many customer or many company are using AutoCount. Some customer may be other people's supplier also. Okay, so maybe A company is my supplier. A company also some other customers customer. So everyone is using auto count. They will help to share the information inside our server. Okay, so if the server has your company has your customer data, they will help you to search and fill up. But if the server do not have the information, there is a link. There's a link that we can generate from our software. We can create the link, and this link can send to your customer or supplier to fill up the detail. You just need to send the link to the customer only. Then ask them to click the link and fill up the information. Then when they save the information, they will send a notification code to the customer and ask the customer to verify. Why they need to verify? Because some customer will feel not comfortable to store their data in our server. Maybe they feel it's a P&C thing. They don't want to store. Can or not? Can. So if they don't want to store, we won't store. If they want to store, then we store their data. Because if you store their data, then everyone can easily search their data and update to the auto count. Okay? If they don't store the data, what is the consequences? That means every time people search their name, they cannot get it in auto count. They will send them the link again. They have to EC again. They have to fill up again. Because their data is not stored. So if their data store, if everyone want to search them easily, they can get their info. Okay? So they can easily updated their debtor maintenance and creditor maintenance. But also depends on your customer or supplier whether they want to store or don't want to store. But you have the convenient way not to call them, but send them the link, ask them to fill up, and they save. The data will automatically pull to AutoCount. Okay? Standard e-invoice in AutoCount. These are the functions. We got draft, awaiting approval, approved, void, and expired. Okay? So why we have this function? Because as you see, 72 hours is the major golden hour that not allowed customer after the 72 hours are not allowed you to cancel, delete, or void. So some company would like to have approval function. Approval means now the invoice in AutoCount, in E-Invoice Era, we will have the draft here. You see on your left top, and the bottom we will have many new things which is saved as draft, approve, approve and preview, approve and print. So this is our new things in E-Invoice Era. That means when your staff issue the invoice, they can save as draft. Okay, they can save as draft. When the superior go through and see everything is correct, the price, the quantity, the description, everything is correct, only they approve. After approve, only you submit. Because some company, they don't want their staff simply to submit any e-invoice into my invoice portal. So that's why we have this function called draft, awaiting approval, approve, void, and expired. Okay, so that you will get stage by stage to approve and then submit. Because they don't want any mistake. Because mistake cannot be amended after 72 hours. Then they don't want to issue too many CN or too many DN. So that is the purpose of doing it stage by stage. But if you say you may be a standalone person, you may be doing the invoice yourself and approve yourself, submit yourself, then no need to go through the process. You can directly submit. But in a big corporation or many departments or a huge MNC company, they need this approval in order to minimize the mistake, to avoid issue CN or DN later to adjust. So that's why they need these approval things. Okay, this one, you want to have approval or don't want to have approval, also can. It's not a compulsory. This is to let you know that we have this function. Okay. Consolidated e-invoice, also in AutoCount. We can consolidate invoice, cash sale, debit note, credit note, and post system transaction. So in consolidated e-invoice, we will help you to consolidate those non-standard e-invoice. That means not a standard invoice, but normal B2C transaction, monthly basis to submit to IRB. So you can have this function to generate consolidated invoice based on date range and based on document. Okay, we will help you to combine and submit as a consolidated e-invoice. So this is the screenshot for the consolidated e-invoice, how it works. So you can see IV005 is not in the screen. It's not on the screen. So because IV0005 is already a standard e-invoice, already issue a standard e-invoice. So it will skip one for 00005 and we continue with 0006. 0007 also a standard e-invoice. So it will not be in consolidated. Okay. For sell bill e-invoice, we also have the sell bill invoice, whether you can convert from purchase invoice or cash book payment voucher. Okay, because if you rent something from a non-business party, like a personal, your landlord is a personal, you usually now you are paying payment voucher, but in E-Invoice Era, you can convert the payment voucher to sell-bill invoice. Okay, so sell-bill invoice is also a additional function. Okay, also got approval stages and also can do the draft approved basis. Then it can copy from purchase invoice or cash book. Maybe you want to convert the purchase invoice to sell bill invoice, or maybe you can convert the payment voucher from the cash book to sell bill invoice. Someone will ask, will it double take our income or expense? No, it won't. So it won't. It just help you to submit only. So this is the purchase invoice function. Also, you can right click on the transaction and generate to sell bill invoice. So as you see, it's very easy. Or you can go to the cash book, right click your mouse and generate a new sell bill invoice. Okay, as you know, we also have POS system. So our POS system or cash sales also can handle by QR code. Also can be a e-invoice themselves. So also can ask customer to issue you know, the information and save it, and we can generate the e-invoice for them. Okay. As you know, the makcik and pakcik at the roadside selling nasi goreng or pisang goreng or keropok goreng or char kway teow, they actually can use our mobile apps. Later, we'll have a mobile apps for that purpose. Or I heard that IRB also will coming out a free mobile apps for them to do submission, okay, for their e-invoice purpose. So later on, I think IRB will also announce lah, they can use the mobile apps to submit, okay. There's no any problem for that. But if they want to do manual submission via Excel, also I think IRB will come out. But with the software, it's easier. They can do submission and help them to upload. This is our AIP server. Then I want to let you know why we have this server, because other software may not have this server. There may be direct linking to IRB portal. This server is act like an intermediate protection. It's like if IRB server is hang or my invoice portal is failure, if you want to do submission in AutoCount, if you do not have this IRP server, you will need to go to the software and always wait there and submit and see whether it's go through or not. If not, you will stay on your PC and go submit again and again and again and cannot go back after work, right? So this AIP server is intermediate and help you to do the monitoring. That means this AIP server will help you to do submission if the IRB portal or My Invoice portal is down or error. They will help you to retry, and retry. Okay, so it will have the function to look up all invoice submission record. Okay, so it will help you to submit again and again. So you can go back home and rest. You no need to stay at the AutoCount, in front of AutoCount and do the submission one time, another time. So this is why we have this e-invoice submission status. So once you submit, our AIP server will come back with the status update, whether it's valid means already submit with the UUID code, or whether it's failed, whether it's pending. Pending means on queue for submission, whether it's cancelled by your buyer or seller. Or this one also can be done, rejection or what. So you will know the status. You will know the status via AutoCount. This is the good thing about AIP server. So any inquiry you want to ask, I think that's all for my sharing about e-invoice and auto count. Now the stages of testing is still going on, and the first batch will be on 1st of August this year. So hopefully the first stage implementation will be a success one lah. So even though you are in stage 3 or stage 2, you can still buy the e-invoice module first with a special discount rate of 20% discount until end of this month. So if you have any question, you can on your mic now and you can ask. Or if you are shy to ask, you can type in the chat box. Okay? Are you all understand my sharing? Are you all understand? Do you have question to ask? Yeah, I saw some question now. Okay, good. If you want the slide, let me know. I can send you via email because the slide is quite big. The video is big. So from time to time, I will have this type of update and sharing lah. So because now you can see a lot of seminar and out there also got the sharing. If you're interested to go outside and take the course also can. If you want, someone commented a little bit. Okay, no, never mind. Uh you just go through my slide again or my video to understand. I know the first time when you hear e-invoice, you will be a bit blur like what I did last time. So I think I already fifth or sixth time hearing the seminar and the talks lah. So I able to share uh I share the view, I share the point to you all. So if you have any question you want to ask, you can let me know. And who wants the slide? Please text me. Text me your email address, okay? So that I will know who to send to. Okay. I don't want to send to the wrong person. Okay. Mm, um, I wait for a few minutes if there is any question to ask. You may on your mic to ask question. If you're too shy, you may use the chat box. I wait a bit. Okay. Okay, Haslina, I will send you. Vivian, also I will send you. Oh, okay. I take down first. Haslina. Wait. Hmm. Wow, lot. I have a lot requests. Wait, Aslina, Mega A, A, Vivian, Simple Life. I hope you all benefit from today's session and get some info from the slide. That you. Mm, okay. So, okay. Not yet. Yeah. It's up. Thank you, everyone. If you do not have further questions, you may leave the session. And thank you for your joining. If you have further questions, you may also welcome to WhatsApp me. Okay. I will help to answer as much as I can. Thank you, everyone. So thank you for coming and thank you for your entering my session. We'll have this kind of update from time to time. Okay. So thank you, everyone, and have a pleasant weekend. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everyone.